Wang Teng died at the hands of some street gangs on Earth and found himself alive in a classroom. He then saw his blonde friend, who asked him to go to the Wild Rose Bar with him for a drink. He was surprised a bit by seeing Xu Jie after a long time, who looked younger than he remembered. He then looked at his selfie cam to confirm his guess, and was sure that he was in his 17-year-old self. He slapped himself hard and wanted to wake up from his dream, but he was still there. Xu Jie was still there. Everything was there, and couldn't be more real. So after a while, Wang Teng rejected Xu Jie for the party invite, and at that time, everyone gathered at the window and shouted for a girl called Manhua. He was surprised, so he joined them too, and saw a girl fighting a bunch of guys and moving like movies. Every attack she made was accompanied by wind. He pondered, but couldn't find any memory of Manhua being a good fighter. Then everyone was talking about fantasy terms like advanced martial arts and martial disciple. He again doubted if this was really his past. So to really confirm that, he needs to go to his own home and see if things match. On the way home, he searched on the internet and found out that 30 years ago, dimensional rifts appeared all over the world, and those rifts connected this world to another dimension where the Xianwu continent was. In the Xianwu continent, everyone could become a martial warrior by using a kind of energy. Scientists have studied the force and found that it might be dark matter. With the appearance of the rifts, the Earth seems to have changed in a significant way, as random people were very compatible with this energy and could harness this energy to become stronger. Humans weren't the only thing that changed, but also the plants and animals mutated and became much bigger, becoming a threat to human dominance. The nations of the world united to explore the dimensional rift, and armies and different specialists were sent to the Xingwu continent. And the first of those that went into the Xianwu continent became the pioneer for the future of the world. After some trials and errors, humans on Earth could cultivate in the right way. The countries came to a common consensus and published the cultivation method. Henceforth, it was the dawn of the martial arts era. Wang Teng was a bit hesitant to go home as he was unsure if his family would be the same. So he went in and met his mom with tears in his eyes. For it has been many years since he saw her as she died due to the grief of his father dying. In the past, he was from a rich family due to his family's business, but the company of his family went bankrupt after his dad offended someone, which also resulted in his own death, following by his mother and lastly him, who drank himself till full of grief every day. He was sure that there was no way gangsters would randomly kill people like him, so it was pretty obvious that it was the power whom his dad offended had pulled the strings, and all these had taught him something. If one wants to live a peaceful life, one needs money and political power. In this world's term, that would be becoming stronger. Here, the strong equals wealth, and it's the only way to keep the people he cares about away from being hurt. So with that goal in mind, he went to a nearby martial house equal to his previous world's gym. On the entrance, an armed guard asked him for an entrance inspection. The guard used a holographic scanner to scan his full body. He then noticed the force runes that were inscribed into the firearm, like an electronic circuit, which made them much stronger than any ordinary firearms. Even a martial warrior would get done in by this weapon if penetrated. He registered himself at the reception desk and was recommended to go to training hall number 2, as he was just a newbie. In the training hall, he saw balls. Not weight balls, but literally flying, colorful balls, and noticed that everybody was blind to the balls, as if they didn't see them. So he touched one of the balls, and was informed that he gained strength by the unit of 1. He was then informed in a mysterious way that the balls were residual energy left by those who trained energy, as they were unable to utilize the energy entirely. Later in the training hall, he bowed down at people's feet, as though he was going to worship them, but his hand would just rub their balls. Females were ashamed of his behavior and called him a creep, but he didn't care as he rubbed the balls of girls and boys alike. He was embarrassed many times too, but he was used to it after a while for the sake of becoming a man with steel balls. He was sure by then that he was the only person who had this ability. Then again, it wasn't that astonishing, for this world was a magical world. Then he saw that a gym guy came to him to give him some martial arts books, so he randomly chose one, which earned him a head bash and caused a meaty ball to appear on his head. After that, the ball rubbing got hardcore. He even chased a fat guy, as the fat guy was like a golden goose to him, for he was dropping fat balls every now and then. When he checked his status through his unique ability, he found out that he obtained new skills in basic fist and foot techniques by popping people's balls. Not to mention the strength and speed also increased by a very large margin. He was exhausted when he got back home. Mom told him to sit at the dining table as she gave him some noodles. When the dad asked him why he was late, he said he went to the martial gym of Jixin. Father Wang was surprised, for Wang Teng didn't like martial arts before. So he said that he recently understood the importance of martial arts and began training in it. His dad was a bit happy and said that since he wanted to learn martial arts, he would try to hire the best teachers. But Wang Teng stopped his dad from calling a teacher and said he must test his talent first, and said that for now, he could just train at the Jingxin Martial House. Of course, the real reason Wang Teng refused was that his ability to pop balls substituted any need for teachers. Dad agreed and said that the Jixin House was one of the 3 giants of China and should have good trainers. Then he took his leave and went to his room. Back in the dining room, his parents decided to buy some meats of star beasts to aid in his training in the future. Next day in the gym, he began rubbing the balls of people he knew and also those he didn't know. And after fusing the balls, he went to test his strength, speed, weight, and physique. He guessed that his skills were at the beginner stage of a martial disciple, so he made his goal to become an intermediate stage soon. During that session of scratching balls, he obtained basic sword skills along with other stats. So he went in and took out a sword. The onlookers were shocked, for he practiced both boxing and swordsmanship. When Brother Peng came, he also was surprised by Wang Teng's skills. Wang Teng also noticed Teacher Peng, so he greeted him. Wang asked Peng why he was so early today. He said that he was in his 20s and just an advanced martial disciple, so he needed to work hard to become a true martial warrior. When he left, he said that someone else was going to guide him today, as he had some emergency work. After that, Wang Teng began his next round of wool collecting. This time, it was a girl. He posed left and right as though he wanted to charm the girl, but in fact, he was just rubbing her balls. In the end, he was beaten till his head grew meatballs. He wooled the sheep till the night, and was satisfied as his strength finally reached the level of intermediate martial disciple. He gained blade skills and foot skills, along with a massive strength boost. When at the dinner table, he was asked about his day at the gym. He said that one of his senior brothers said that he was talented. His dad was happy to hear that, and assured him to practice well and not care about the star beast's meat that martial artists needed to eat. But he suppressed his urge to reveal his real strength, for it would be too shocking to reach the intermediate level after just 2 days of going to the gym. At that time, he got a phone call from Xu Jie and was told to come to the Rose Club, so he took his leave soon after. He remembers this club very well as he got the news of his family going bankrupt in this very club from Xu Jie. But he swore that he would change everything in this life, and was very confident with the ability to rub balls. He greeted them as they said he was late. He also saw Bai Wei, the pink-haired girl. Later, Xu Jie began drinking and chatting with them along with another guy called Yu Hao, who boasted that he was at the beginner stage of martial disciple. Then Xu Jie rebuked Yu Hao for not telling them about him training, and said Yu Hao needs to watch their back if someone bullies them in the future. As Wang Teng was flirting with Bai Wei, he remembered a guy named Yuan Zhen, who used to be one of their friends, so he asked Xu Jie about him. Xu Jie humped and said that Yuan Zhen was no longer part of their group, as he had become a lackey of Li Rongcheng. So Wang Teng said that everyone has their own aspirations, and there's nothing they can do. In the meantime, a drunk guy finally noticed them and went directly for Bai Wei. Just as he was about to grope her, Yu Hao, the beginner martial warrior, saved the damsel but was beaten by the guy. And Yu Hao told Wang Teng that the man was an intermediate stage martial disciple, while he was just a beginner stage. But when the man got closer, he was slapped shitless by Wang Teng. Wang Teng moved forward with hands in his pocket as though scratching balls. When the drunk man attacked again, Wang blocked it with only one hand and counterattacked with a punch in the abdomen, which cracked the made-in-China walls behind. In the process, he obtained more and more balls from him. Then the guy threatened Wang Teng and said that they would regret hurting him and asked for Wang Teng's name. So Wang Teng made up a lie and said that his name was Li Rongcheng. He gave the name of Li Rong because he hated this guy for making Yuan leave their group. And also he didn't want any trouble coming to him or his family before he got strong enough. And he was sure that it wouldn't take him long to become stronger with the help of his ability. When the man left, everyone laughed, seeing how Wang pushed the blame on Li Rongcheng. Even Xu Jie praised him. Then Xu Jie also rebuked Wang for not telling them that he had such firm balls. After they left, the manager of the club, who was hiding beneath a table, asked his lackey not to say anything about this incident to anyone, since Wang Tang was an intermediate martial disciple at such a young age. And it was impossible to be at the intermediate stage before 20 without the backing of a strong family. On the other hand, it was Zhao Gangbao who also had powerful backing. It's better to stay quiet. He then added that they should only tell the boss about this issue. When Bai Wei went to her home, she began fantasizing about Wang Tang, for he was so strong today. But little did she know Wang Tang only saw her as a friend. The next day at the branch of Jixin Martial House, Wang Tang was groping balls as usual. He thought he was early, but still saw some people that were even earlier. Thus the gym was filled with Wang Tang's greetings, as he did a handshake with everyone and rubbed their balls in the process. He obtained more skill proficiency and stats, but it still felt slow on this floor, so he wanted to go to the upper floors, and found out that a beginner stage martial disciple wasn't allowed to go to the next floor. So he told his fat sheep that he had broken through to the intermediate stage martial disciple, which really shocked him. The onlookers who heard him almost dropped their weight balls on their feet in shock. Upon entering